So I saw a Facebook post just today that I actually thought was really funny and astute and on point. So before I go any further, I'm going to let you guys know I am politically independent. My spiritual awakening process has made me see through political ideology and this two-party structure and the problems with adhering, identifying with, following a political party as opposed to just figuring out what your core values are as an individual and then using that as your guide. Because when you follow a political party or when you follow a political leader unquestioningly or, unconsciously, often those people will take you in other directions and maybe contradict values that party traditionally had, which is really why the Democratic Party has completely crumbled at this point. And what isn't being talked about is the Republican Party is also crumbling. The old idea of what the Republican Party was. This Donald Trump election was kind of a different thing from what the traditional Republican Party was. So, because of my political independence, I don't, and not following a party, you know, so I'm not a huge, awesome fan of Donald Trump. I see problems in his thinking and his behaviors in some ways. I personally just thought for the direction of humanity, that was a better way to go at this time. Not necessarily like that I think he's some amazing hero that's come to save the day necessarily. There's going to be problems with his presidency. I just think that the number of problems are going to be less overall for the collective than the other direction. And so what's important to mention is, I see some people panicking and freaking out over the fact that he won. And I understand where they're coming from. I understand their fears, and I have compassion for those fears. I'm hoping that I can offer some sort of, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know the word. Everything is going to be okay, ultimately. And I'm also not on the camp of, woohoo, Donald Trump is the savior of humanity, because it's not quite like that. But breaking out of the free-range slave system is the most important thing that we need to do as a species. But it's funny because this post was like, it's so funny. Oh, if I could find a way to put it in the comments. I don't know if I can share Facebook. I'm not good with technology, you guys. But showed Elon Musk and it showed Donald Trump, and it was pointing out the irony that these two dudes are speaking to the population about traditional family values when Donald Trump has kids with 3 different women or maybe 2 different women. And Elon Musk is like Genghis Khan over here with however many baby mamas he's got. And that's okay. I'm not judging. I don't actually have rigid ideas about how family structures should look as long as love is the basis of that structure. Because I understand that life is actually complicated and we really shouldn't be judging each other's, the way each other is living as long as nobody's actually hurting anyone else. Because we don't know what that soul is exploring. We don't know what they wanted to learn and grow on. We don't know the ultimate truth of everything, even though some people sure do seem to think that they do. But I just thought that was such a good point. I voted for Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Republican. I just think that was the better direction for the country. However, it is a huge contradiction when you see those people preaching traditional family values that's fine. Elon Musk can do that. I mean, he's got the money to support all those kids. Cool. Go for it. If I had more money, I would totally have more kids. But it is a funny point. He's not doing a traditional family setup. What Elon Musk is doing is not a traditional nuclear family setup. All those baby mamas, this is some Old Testament shit with all these wives and one dude with a whole bunch of money. So maybe, I don't know. So it's not like the traditional idea of the nuclear family, the mother, the father, they stay married forever. And you see what I'm saying? How it's a huge contradiction. And it's so funny. So for anybody who has any kind of a charge, positive or negative, regarding this new election and the new direction politically where we're going, I would like to recommend and offer that if maybe pulling your mind into the now and listening to your heart space. So there is value to different religions. Some people believe that the way of Jesus is the only way. I don't think that that's the case. God's teachings comes in many forms. It's a teaching based on love. And people get kind of lost in the mix, I think. We can always disagree, my friend. But the Buddha was talking about freedom from attachment and freedom from aversion, attachment and aversion, push and pull. And so when it comes to the way I'm regarding this political candidate, sometimes when he says things, I have a little bit of like, ooh, that's not great. But I also understand the bigger picture. And so there's no real attachment or aversion here that I'm feeling toward any of this. So if you are feeling that way, I encourage you to do more meditation. There are a lot of different prayers that help, but and whatever works. I don't like this idea that people are pushing that Christianity is the only way, because I just don't think that that's valid. God comes in many different forms, but I just wanted to share a little short video because I thought that that was such a funny contradiction. So when you're preaching about family values, kind of take a look at your own situation and say, am I really following that ideal? You know what I'm saying? Get the judgment out of it, the rigidity in this idea of how life is supposed to look. That's not how it works. Making choices from a love-based state of awareness in the now. It's really so interesting because it's actually very simple. This state of consciousness that Jesus was talking about is what has also been referred to as enlightenment, unity consciousness. There's probably other names for it. And it's when you predominantly reside in the now, and your communication with God is a much more direct, your higher self is a much more direct thing. And so you have access to that, you're tapped into that wisdom and that awareness, and you just naturally make love-based choices within that state. When we get too wrapped up in the neural network, we're living our life through ideology, that's where we get into trouble. That's where we get detached from that love-based way. And so what this newer version of conservatism has that risk within it still. I also believe that a lot of these people are going to also I'm growing, lots of people are growing. They're going to continue to learn and grow too. So don't get too worried. Everything's going to be okay. We are on this pathway toward this love-based way. So before I close, just going to share one more little opinion with you. There are people who gain lots of influence sometimes that are operating not on a love-based way, but on more of a painting a certain image kind of a way, because there's a benefit for them in that. Fame, recognition, money. Please don't get angry. The reason why I say please don't get angry is because I want more of a discourse with people and less of reactionary attack types of situations. I had somebody in the comments a little bit ago be like, you should get rid of all the disclaimers. It's distracting. They're not disclaimers. It's respect. I want you to know that I care about your perspective. I am a pretty secure individual at this point. So it's not coming from that space of please like me. It's coming from a space of I care about your feelings and your perspectives, even when ours are not matched up. So Jordan Peterson, I believe, is one of those people. I think that he's a very intelligent person, very smart person. And from a philosophical standpoint, he has very interesting ideas on certain things. But as far as a mental health voice, I don't think that that's how he should be. People shouldn't be looking at him in that way and getting advice from him in that way, because I really don't think that he's a responsible party regarding that topic. Philosophy, man, you guys, he's got some really interesting ideas in that way. But I think that he spreads a lot from when he's on his mental health platform. He's spreading a lot of harmful information regarding parenting, a lot of different things. But I also believe in the freedom for people to discern and choose for themselves. It's merely my perspective. I don't think he is a good role model when it comes to mental health topics. More of just kind of an interesting, thought-provoking person when it comes to philosophical ideas. With him, I see a couple of things. I don't know him. I haven't read a lot about him. This is just kind of my kind of what I've gathered. I think he has some mother issues and some repressed rage issues. And that's okay. We all have our wounds on this journey. The thing is people in the mental health profession have a responsibility to actually adequately be doing that healing. And it's hard. It's not easy. It's really painful. Some of these wounds are so hidden and buried, they're really hard to get to. So I understand that. But it's just my perspective that I don't think it's wise to go to somebody like that for mental health advice. Or, or like the things that what I'm talking about is when you hear him on podcasts and he's sharing his perspectives on different mental health topics. I don't think that he's very good in that regard. Philosophically, very, very, very smart guy. Anyway, just wanted to give a little rant on that. It's a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, my husband inspired me to start running in the cold. I went for a jog in the 33-degree weather this morning, and I highly encourage it if you want to try it. It's invigorating. It's sort of like you're doing your Wim Hof and your cardio all in one. Anyway, like and subscribe if you thought this was helpful, interesting, resonated with it. And please, my friend, have an amazing day. Bye for now.